Fallout didn't invent monsters, it borrowed them, twisted them, and then asked a far more terrifying question: what happens when myths meet science and science doesn't stop? Because cryptids are born from fear, Fallout creatures are born from decisions. And today we're comparing real world cryptids to their Fallout counterparts. Not based on strength, not based on size, but on one question: which is more terrifying, the legend or what humanity turned it into? Each matchup today is judged on four things: the psychological fear, symbolism, the plausibility, and what it says about humanity. This is not power scaling. This is existential horror. Because the scariest monsters aren't the ones that kill you. They're the ones that feel possible. Let's start with one of the most disturbing cryptids in human folklore: the Wendigo. In Algonquin legends, the Wendigo isn't just a monster, it's a human. A person who survives famine or desperation by consuming another human being. They are cannibals, but that act doesn't save them, it curses them. The Wendigo becomes eternally hungry, it's never satisfied, and it's also never human again. The fear isn't the teeth and the claws. The fear is what it represents: survival at the cost of your soul. Now, compare that to Fallout's version, the Wendigo Colossus. This isn't a curse, it's radiation, mutation, and biology reacting to trauma. Cannibalism isn't punished by myth, it's rewarded by adaptation. The Fallout Wendigo doesn't exist to warn people not to cross a line. It exists because there was no line at all. Here's the verdict: the real Wendigo is absolutely terrifying because it's a warning. The Fallout version is more terrifying because it's inevitable. Winner: Fallout. Next is one of the most famous American cryptids, the Mothman. Sighted in West Virginia during the 1960s, the Mothman is associated with disasters: bridges that collapsed, accidents, and deaths. It doesn't attack, it watches. The fear of the Mothman is knowing something terrible is coming and being powerless to stop it. Now look at Fallout's version. The Mothman. In Fallout, the Mothman isn't just observed, it's studied, worshipped, weaponized. Humans don't ask what it means, they ask how they can use it. How can they weaponize it? The omen just becomes an asset, the warning becomes a resource. Here's the verdict: the real Mothman is terrifying because it observes. The Fallout Mothman is worse because humans just couldn't leave it alone. Winner: Fallout. Few cryptids are spoken about with more fear than the Skinwalker. In Navajo tradition, a Skinwalker is a human who breaks sacred taboos to gain power. And that power is the shapeshift. This isn't an accident, it was a choice. The horror is simple. The monster looks like someone you trust, someone you know, or someone you love. Now, compare that to Fallout's counterpart, the synth. Synths don't require rituals, they're manufactured. Perfect replicas of human beings, memories implanted, personalities copied. And unlike skinwalkers, they can be mass produced. Verdict: skinwalkers are rare. Synths, they're scalable. The winner in this one is Fallout. Because identity theft is worse when it comes with an assembly line. Bigfoot is one of the least aggressive cryptids. The Bigfoot, it avoids humans, hides, observes, disappears. The fear of Bigfoot is that something intelligent shares the world with us and wants nothing to do with us. Now compare that to Fallout's answer. The super mutant. Super mutants didn't hide. They were created. Humans exposed to the forced evolutionary virus. Stronger, tougher, and sterile. A future that ends immediately. Verdict: Bigfoot avoids us. Super mutants are what happens when we can't avoid ourselves. Winner: Fallout. Reptilians are modern day cryptids. Shape shifting elites, hidden rulers. They control from the shadows. Their fear is uncertainty. Now compare that to Fallout's equivalent, the Deathclaw. Deathclaws aren't a theory. They were engineered by the US military. They were weapons created by man. They were designed as weapons. They don't manipulate humanity. They were planned to replace it. Verdict: reptilians are scary because they might exist in our world. Deathclaws are terrifying because they absolutely do exist in Fallout. Winner: Fallout. Cryptids are born from fear. They warn us. They symbolize boundaries. Fallout creatures are born from our decisions. We didn't ask what if, we only asked why not. That's why Fallout's monsters are more terrifying. Not because they're stronger, but because they're plausible. Because Fallout doesn't say this could happen, it says this already did. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe to the Hyperfix Hub. This series is just getting started. In the next episode, we're comparing cryptids that hunt humans to some of Fallout's most apex predators. And I want to hear from you. Which matchup scared you more? The myth or what Fallout turned it into? Because when legends meet science, science doesn't